Welcome to Tiny Hands, Big Dreams, here on the homestead in southern Ecuador. How to be welcome in a different culture. If you're interested in moving to Ecuador from America, there's something we've learned. It is very different than the way we grew up. If that is potentially your case, you should watch this. So we had an interaction with somebody, which was actually a lot of fun. But they said something that really got us talking. And anytime we start conversing about something, we think it's good to share. And that was how to be welcome in a different culture, specifically this one. And it's different.
And the expectations versus realities of that.
Yeah.
You may come into Ecuador or another country with a different culture with a certain set of expectations based off of your life, your upbringing, your own culture, of how society interacts or welcomes a foreigner.
Right, which is how much you get accepted, and then like how that all plays out, but also how you choose to live in that other country plays into it greatly as well. We live rurally. We live in the middle of nowhere, in what is essentially a poor rural sort of area. We enjoy our neighbors. They're good people. There's, the entire road, I can count all the cars on one hand. Like, it's just not a wealthy place. If you move to an enclave of a whole bunch of expats, you will have a different experience with the locals and how you're accepted.
I do have a different experience with that set of foreigners that will probably accept you easily because you are all foreigners.
You have a shared thing in common, that you have all moved to a certain place, so you have something in common which sort of binds you together.
And the same is, or similar in places, probably my assumption being large cities, and I know on the coast of Ecuador, there's a lot more tourism. There is more foreigners there either to live or to visit or to part-time live, something like that. You stand out less. You are probably faster to be accepted in some ways. As a tourist, you're just like, oh, you're another tourist. And
well, any big city,
just kind of,
and especially touristy areas, you walk into somewhere, maybe it's just somewhere you get your lunch, and the waiter's like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's great. They're your best friend thing. You're chatting up this and that, and you leave, and they never see you again. And they have that interaction all day. They sort of wear that extrovert persona on their sleeve. Interactions are generally short. And everybody sort of keeps their interactions to that level. You're not
building actual relationships with people on the same level or the same frequency.
Right. So here, and we talk about it, it's a family sort of society where families are strong, families live together. When somebody gets old, and this just happened with a person I know, their mother, aged, sort of getting ill, they left their very beautiful custom house that he had made, and they moved into her tiny apartment in the city to take care of her, him and his wife.
That's relatively common.
It is very common. Or mother-in-law comes and lives with you, also very common. Like but that familiar society, like you have to get to know people to be accepted to.
And that idea of family, I think, extends to the larger community. Your
family, your neighborhood, your street, then your parochia,
But the same concept, I think, applies all the way out that circle.
It does.
It's not, there is just a different kind of relationship. And I think, kind of the whole point of this is when you come here, either to visit because you want to move here, any of those things, your experience here might not be what you expect. And that doesn't mean that it won't eventually be. It just takes more time.
You're going to, as they say, pay the piper up front. To get into a familiar society, you have to be part of the shared, like you have to throw your lot in with the people who live here. People's face, they talk to us and they're nice, they're pleasant, we interact, we buy stuff. And sometimes we've known these people for a year or two. Like we've been going to like certain markets, and they're nice to us, and it's great. And then they're like, oh, so like where do you live? I'm like, oh, we live here. Like we got a little farm. And they're like, well, how long have you lived here? And I said, oh, well, we've been here 2.5 years, and we're permanent. We're not going back. And they're like, permanente?
It is a
right
change in their face, their body language, just everything changes. The entire interaction is now different. Because
you are not a visitor.
We are part of this.
Because there's not a lot of people that, at least where we are, that come through here. There's definitely not a lot of gringos.
Yeah, it's probably true of, I think, most of rural Ecuador.
Sure.
There's not a lot of in and out. There's not a lot of foreigners.
People kind of are where they are. And they're pleasant enough to people that travel through, but when you say you're permanent, that you chose this, I'm like, no, I like it. It's beautiful. We have this wonderful house over this valley, and a dog who's Ecuadorian. Yeah. But all of a sudden, they're like, oh, and that's it. Like, everything changes once they realize you are part of their community. You have entered their circle of, like, extended family, and things are different. So I go down to the butcher, and I say, hey, I'm looking for, we've run out of lard, which we use for cooking, and so we want to buy some fat, so the wife can turn it into beautiful pearl white lard, which she does. Props on the lard. And he goes, we don't have any. He goes, but we're getting some tomorrow, but you have to be there like early in the morning or it's gone. And he's like, oh, I'll save some for you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. And then like sometimes we'll go into town and there's, meat gets delivered on a Sunday, cow. So if you want a specific chunk, you go on Sunday morning and you get it because that's when it's delivered. And then the rest of the week, they sort of like grind it, cut it, and it peters out from there. And there's been times where we haven't had the cash on us to get it because we had to go to the bank, which is, a distance away, and get the cash. And I said, hey, yeah, we came and we like picked it out. Can you just hold it for us and we'll not pay you right now and we'll get you on the way back? And he goes, yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
And he goes and he puts it in the fridge and he holds it and he like does us a favor. Or the lady that we get chayote from.
She's great.
Which, like, we've traded stories back and forth, and we showed her pickles.
Yeah.
She'd never had pickles or pickled chayote, and her face just like magically lit up, and we're like, no, like we told you we'd bring you some. And just the other day, like she had sold all of whatever she had brought to the market, but she had a bag of chayote
that she had promised us.
She stayed there at the big market.
The only thing she had left was our bag that she
just
held for
waiting
us.
for us to show up, and we were kind of late that day.
Or like I just remember occasionally the big market will move onto the streets if there's like an event, which is sort of then chaos because you have no idea where any vendors are and you're like wandering around. And we were wandering around looking lost. And Chayote Lady, we don't know people's names. We just call them by whatever we associate with them. So Chayote Lady came over and like tapped me on the arm and was like, over there. Like they know us. They accept us as part of the community.
And it took a bit.
And that's the thing. It wasn't right away.
It's not.
It's
like
just
you go
here.
and you go, week after week after week, and even after like a couple of months, sometimes people are like, we keep seeing you here, like you've become a regular. And then we moved here. But there's also people that have come for and they've hung out for 6 months on a tourist visa and then left again.
I think that really once we got past 6 months and we're still here and still going to the market every week and still going into town. And I mean, you have more interactions with people because you're the one who drives and you go into town and you get supplies and you talk to people and things. And I think that once we really established we're permanent here, we're not leaving. This is our home. I feel now 2+ years in that we're really truly accepted as part of the community. Yeah. And I think that probably more than accepted. I mean, I feel like it's a positive. It's not like oh, I accept you. You're okay. You live here. But I think that people actually enjoy us living here.
They do. There was the neighbor. His son died in a motorcycle accident. And I drove by and I'm like, why is all these people in your yard? What's going on? And he said, my son has died. And I'm like, oh my God. And then like he's just grieving and he's like, I want you to come, please come to the funeral. Okay. So he invited me to the funeral. So I put on a nice shirt and a tie, and I go, and I really don't understand anything that anyone's saying because it's in Spanish, and I don't Spanish well. But I managed to hold some conversations. I managed to translate some. I was there. Everybody from the community. Funerals are a big deal here.
Yeah.
Everybody goes. Even neighbors that don't like each other, they go.
Yeah.
So that was like, to be invited as you were part of that. And then other people talk to me. The old grumpy guy that always gives us the nasty, like, he's like 187 years old. He's like just hunched over to 4 feet high. At
some point in life, you get grumpy, and you just exist as grumpy.
I saw him out there with a machete cutting grass, though. Like, the old man still got it. But so he starts talking to me like, you're those people thing, like, you're causing problems, you're new here. And we start talking things, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, like.
And now he waves.
And now he likes us, and he waves, and we wave at him.
Yeah.
Did it take a minute? Yeah, it takes a minute.
But all of the neighbors wave at us.
This isn't
everyone.
I don't think this is special to us, and
No.
this is part of the importance of this video. This is something to do with the culture here, and you have to give it the time.
You have to give it.
Can feel like, well, it wasn't great, like right off the bat, so it's probably not. So I'm just going to go somewhere else to where it's instant gratification. But those interactions and those relationships may be flighty.
Well, it also just may be cultural.
It is culturally different.
There are places where you may be immediately accepted, fully and completely, and everyone's friendly and you're all great. I'm sure there are those places. That's not here. So
Los Angeles. You move to Los Angeles, and all of a sudden, you meet all these people things. You meet somebody at a burrito place, and you're hanging out, and you're friends, and you're best friends. You've known people for like 8 years. Like, you're at each other's houses, things, something. And all of a sudden, you move to like the next city over that's like 6 miles away. They never call again. Like, you just become persona non grata. Like, and nobody finds that weird. They just like, nope, you were only part of this circle while you're here, and then you're just gone. And nobody even like laments it. It's just, it's weird. It's weird. Met a lot of weird people from LA.
But I just think it's important. We've talked about expectations versus realities of moving to Ecuador before, because there's a lot that you might think from other travels, from other places, even in Latin America. You may have gone to places and had a very different experience because they are more used to gringos. And it's just a common thing. There's a lot of them, or they travel. This is not a tourist destination. So you are an oddball. It's just... There's
one other dude, and he's a Jehovah's Witness, and that's his deal, is that he just goes around like doing that.
Yeah.
And everybody sort of knows like he's here
for a purpose, and not really in a I am living here part of the community kind of way. It's sort of a different thing. It's just a different thing.
It is just a thing.
So if you want to move to rural Ecuador, you're going to be the odd one out.
For a bit. They're slow to warm up. Even like they say, like, to try to get a bank account, like if you're just a stranger and you show up, even the bank will look at you like, well, who will speak for you? Who like
there's the who will speak for you, as like
that you're an okay person. You have to have like the reference that you're okay.
Once someone in your town knows you and has decided that you are beneficial to the community, that you are a good person, I think everything kind of changes.
Everything changes.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not special to us. It's not like we have this magic ability for people to like us. I think this is probably just a universal, but it's that there's a safety in taking it, just like in a relationship. If you start dating somebody, if you take it slow and like you keep your boundaries and you do your thing and like you just kind of be yourselves and everybody gets to know each other, you've probably created a longer lasting relationship than simply say whatever the other person wants and it's great off the bat, and then eventually you figure out it's
not
go squirrely. Slow and steady.
And I think the approach that you take as a foreigner coming here is critical to it working out for you. We have talked about that before. You can't come into this from a perspective of you want everyone to act the way that you are used to people acting. That is so important. You are coming to a completely different culture with different people that have different backgrounds and beliefs and experiences than you. And you have to realize that if you want to be accepted, you have to open your mind a whole lot.
And you sort of have to, like, you know, you throw down first. If you like,
Yes.
I will continue to be here. I will show that I am like a constant in the environment and not just whatever.
You're not gonna expect to be treated differently.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, like, I know some people who have moved to Ecuador and felt they should be treated differently because they are an American or a Canadian or whatever. That they should be treated almost better. That they should get a better price, or they should get treated, I don't know, just differently.
There's like an ego, a superiority
bit,
complex.
Some people see this as a third world country, and therefore, like, oh, well, you should treat me better because I have come from somewhere that is better than here. There's some weird perspectives there, and that won't help you become integrated into the community.
So, and I guess our viewpoint is we have chosen to be part of the community. Now, we still are who we are. We're still Americans.
We still have our backgrounds and our
and all of our things and the food we like and the stuff. And while we are learning to take part in the local culture,
we're never going to be Ecuadorian.
We're never going to be a truly Ecuadorian. Now, if you come and you move into an enclave of expats and you are part of that, how do the locals see you? Are you ever truly part of their community? Or is your expat enclave sort of part of their community and you are primarily a member of that club first and not truly part of the local community? Because that's a secondary thing.
And if that's what you want,
that's who you hang out with.
You just have to not accept or expect to be accepted and be part of that Ecuadorian community. Because honestly, they probably won't. They will see you as a separate.
You are part of that group.
Yeah.
You're, you know, and if there's something that happens, like we have our neighbors, they've helped us out, and we've gotten the van stuck in the river and in the mud and in places. Yep. They've asked nothing for it. Just like, nope, happy to help. You're our neighbor. You live here.
We just help each other.
We just help each other. Now, I did go and have them a lovely little cake made up with a picture of the van stuck in the river and delivered it to them, just like out of...
like that?
Yeah, because we're like that. Little things go a long way. Like, I appreciate your help. I do not take it for granted.
Yeah.
So. All right. Whatever that is.
That's a fly.
Okay.
So that's just our perspective on moving to Ecuador as a foreigner and becoming part of a community. It is not overnight. It does take time.
If you're not an a-hole, it does happen.
Oh, it totally will.
It's not special to us. We know lots of other people that have moved to places that are you know, kind of out of the way, and it works out really well. It takes time. That, you know, they interact with their neighbors. They do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to come at it from the right perspective and be patient.
Yeah, and understand it's a more patient. It's a slower culture. You can't just like
expect right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And take your time. Talk to people. Interact with them. People at the corner store, the thing. Don't just buy your stuff and leave. Like California, if you start talking to the person, Toby, stop. If you start talking to a cashier about your life, they're like, oh my God, like, you know, in a minute I'm going to press a little red button under the counter because this weird person's talking to me. Please go away. Pay for your thing and go. And then we get to Tennessee.
And man, they want
we're swapping stories on like how to do like this and that, making ribs and something, and like there's people behind us. Oh no, you're gonna talk and things and something, and that's just like in the U.S. But here it's like talk to people, ask them about this and that. Or I was looking for something special. They're like this and that. It doesn't matter if you are or not. Ask them for it, and they'll you know this and that. You've asked them for help. You've engaged them.
Yes. Don't be too insular. Now I'm totally an introvert.
Hermit.
So it's very difficult for me. It's just not natural, which is why I have him, which really helps.
The front facing part of our equation here.
Sometimes. I can be more. I just choose not to be at this point. But to ask people to ask for their help means that they are of value to you. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You value their opinion.
Yes.
You know, like, can you help me with something?
Yes.
That's a line that I've found universally helpful. It didn't matter whether I was calling my bank or I was at the local hardware store or something. Hey, I have a problem.
Can you help me?
Can you help me with this? Like, I think that you have the ability to help me. They're like, oh, you've sort of, I hate to use the word, but you've empowered somebody.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, and then like I've called a credit card company and like total predicament thing, something outside of the rules suddenly happens. They've made it work.
And it's very true for here.
It is. And it's good. And we like it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to give it time.
Yeah.
Put your time in. But now we have good neighbors that, you know, they call us for help. We call them for help. Like, we trade back and forth. They wave, we wave. Like, we're...
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Life is pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you're moving to Ecuador, I hope this was helpful to you.
We have a whole playlist of moving to Ecuador information. You should watch all of it.
We do. Check out the playlist. We've put together a bunch of it. And subscribe if you haven't. We will probably throw out some sort of really cool video in the future that you will kick yourself if you don't get to see it, because it's important. And if you're feeling generous, we have a coffee link. We happily accept donations to survive. That's about it.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you for the next one.